Man, this right here, it has to take, the petty level to one of the all-time highs of all petty, man. This is compared to 50 Cent's age and Lil Meech, this right here is just a big age gap where I could say, like, this dude is, young enough to be your son, and in Lil Meech case, 50 Cent old enough to be your pops. And this is why you have to keep business strictly business. For moments like this where you got somebody like 50 Cent who, take a lot of things to social media and try to make jokes out of them when, in this case, this ain't funny. Actually, this is kind of corny. Not kind of, but it is. If you 50 Cent, it's like this, man. If this, if Lil Meech didn't say anything disrespectful in any shape, way, or form towards you, I don't really see you really taking this and putting this showcasing this on social media for entertainment value. Saying the dude is out of work and things like that. Like, I will say, when will people like grow up? But people gonna be who they are. So I feel like, honestly, that when you're in a professional environment and you working with somebody or for, or however which way you want to put it, you have to keep it strictly professional, because this right here in this situation, Lil Meech kind of looked at 50 as while his pops was locked up at the time, Big Meech was locked up, Lil Meech looked at 50 Cent as somebody that's kind of like a father figure, and we're giving him all this praise. And honestly, I felt like that was, his downfall in some sort, because when you praise somebody that isn't your pops, but just for what he's done for you in situations, I mean, that's one thing, but don't overdo it. He kind of OD'd with it, in the comments when, at the time, like I said, when his pops was locked up, when he was thanking 50 for, setting him up in position to, being in BMF and just like having a role, just like the showcase of his acting, abilities, that sort. With BMF just taking off with the television series, just getting, shooting off like a rocket out of here. He kind of like OD'd with thanking 50, and I feel like 50 kind of looked at him as his son, like, seriously, because I feel like 50 took it to another level as far as like him actually feeling like he was his kid when actually he wasn't. Because if that wasn't the case, if 50 never looked at Big Meech and knowing that Big Meech, if he never looked at Little Meech as his son, if he never really took it to that level of seriousness, then I would feel like that he wouldn't be responding or acting the way he's acting, as far as like, doing something that's embarrassing, as such as, putting with work for food, and things like that, because BMF got canceled. And I saw BMF, I seen this coming, so it's like not a shock that BMF is canceled. Because I mean, if you're looking at the writing, from the previous season, with the whole Mexican cartel and things of them being in Mexico, it's like it was too much of that being the focus, other than I feel like with them actually being back in in Detroit, taking care of business, and with the whole moving and with the drug operation and over there in that part, I feel like it kind of took it away by them being in Mexico doing some sort of type of. It just didn't make any sense. It just felt like it was just so fictional. BMF, that BMF went in no Mexico. Not like, how the way they made it look. So it looked so super fictional. And I feel like it kind of took away from the realness of the show, because it was kind of like overly fabricated. In other words, if I could put it that way. And it was so consistent with that, it kind of drew viewers away. And that, I feel like, kind of led to the decline of them saying like, okay, we got to, scrap this show up and just go ahead and cancel it, because there's nowhere we can really go with this for the future that really would make sense for us to really believe that this show could pick back up where it once was in the beginning, like the first two seasons. But I don't feel like 50 was in control of this. I feel like it was just a Star's decision, but 50 is running with it, by being, childish and, coming at some kid that's a kid to you that didn't say nothing crazy or anything of that sort towards you for you to respond like this. That's because I don't even know what other issue, because you've seen his pops taking pictures with Rick Ross. I mean, what that got to do with that man's child? That's his pops. That's his pops. That's a whole nother grown man. Like, ain't like Lil Meech can say, don't do this. And his pops is being Big Meech gonna listen to him and be like, okay, I ain't gonna take a picture with Rick Ross. So it's like, it's out of his control. But for you to make it seem like as if he was like right along with it, it's just messy, and it's just make 50 look like he's just reaching for attention. Because I'm gonna just be honest, 50 Cent ain't really where he once was as far as the TV world. I mean, it got so serious. It's so serious to the point now that he got his own app called 50 Cent Action App or something like that. Yeah, it just sounds like, just don't even sound right. So it's like, when you see stuff like that and you see like him doing like his own, I guess, America's Most Wanted TV show, but in other words, it's called some sort of type of crime show, and he like the host on Fox. I don't know how many people tuned into that, but I ain't really heard anything as far as the rating wise for that point. People talking about that show, I haven't heard nothing. It was crickets on that end. And as far as like media wise, ain't nobody really bringing 50 Cent up to their show after seeing how the way he been carrying himself as far as with Trump and saying that he wasn't gonna be on no sides of, he don't do politics. And when they were asking about Kamala, when he was last at the Breakfast Club a minute ago, and pretty much made it seem like as if he didn't have no involvement in politics. And I felt like that was the best way to go, because you being a public figure, I mean, you don't want to you're gonna have some fans as Democrats, you're gonna have some fans as Republicans, so you don't want to piss off either side. So you're gonna stay out of it. But after Trump won, he posted up the selfie. I don't know if Trump said if you post this selfie, I can make I can make some things happen for you. It seemed like I don't know if it just looked like that, because the selfie that I seen when 50 Cent posted of him and Trump, as if he took it himself, it was kind of like, it left a bad taste. It just looked bad. And then for the caption he wrote, that he rode with the winners, is it looked real bad, and just it looked real 50 Centless. Like he don't really it made him look like he's not as masculine as far as the business guy that we thought he was. It kind of made him look, devalued his image a little bit, if I could say. I mean, I couldn't even look at him as 50 Cent no more. So that's where it went downhill with me. And that's where it started to look like it was going down for him. So he had to, I don't want to say kiss up to Trump, but it seemed like it's almost as if that's what it looked like, because that's what he posted. So he will always make great music. But back to the story of him, with Lil Meech situation, is this is a kid to you. So I feel honestly, if you don't have your own relationship with your son intact, then it really didn't surprise me that this is how he would act when it comes down to somebody who's not his son. So I'm going to leave that right there where it's at, because it's for the public eye to see, public information. And you can't really trust people in any way, but you if it's for your eyes to see how this is how someone is handling their situation as far as their relationship with their kids, then what the fuck make you think the relationship towards you would be any different if he felt some sort of type of way that how he felt like you was moving? It's going to be 2 times worse. He's going to embarrass you 2 times worse than he do his own kids, because you ain't his child. So that also lets you know this whole brother shit, this whole a pop's father figure and all that, and it ain't nowhere near blood related to you. Say that shit, save that shit, say that shit, because none of that don't mean nothing, because motherfucker would turn their back on you and they'll and try to embarrass you, public humiliate you, you know, if they feel like that you trying to cross them, even if it's your own damn pops, biologically. But you never see 50 going at nobody that's outside of his race. If he do, he'll delete it. Things that make you go, So, I mean, I'm going to just go ahead and just leave that at that. That's how I feel about this whole situation with 50 Cent and Lil Meech, Sensei's Reality. I mean, I'm only going to tell you the truth to keep it real with you. I mean, that's all I know how to do. So, y'all be easy, y'all be good. One love. Peace.